Hi, I'm Peter Handfield with Melissa Data. Today we're going to be talking about mailers online. To get started, first thing you're going to want to do is once you get to the web pages, you're going to want to choose Select File. We'll go ahead and click on our file here. It's an Excel file, but we also do support all kinds of different text files, including comma separated, tab separated, and just fixed length text files. We also do support Excel 97 and the latest Excel files also. So right here, it has a little summary of what the name of the file is and how big it was and whether it contained a header. So if your file doesn't have a header, you want to make sure that this is unchecked. If you're not sure what a header is, it's the label of what each column is. So like in this file, I have address as is, and then all my records underneath address are the different addresses. The next option that you'll see is that we have NCOA change of address processing. We strongly recommend that you use this option unless you're using a list that you've already purchased that has already been through NCOA. We'll go ahead and click on Next. And here we'll see the layout of the file, which we have all our, you can see the first records is our headers. And right here is what the program determines what each field is in the database. If it has common headers like this one does, it'll automatically fill it with the correct information. For some reason, if it is wrong, you could always change it to whatever the correct one is in the drop down here. And you want to make sure that if you are running it through NCOA, that you do have a name and a company name in there along with the address. This is if you ran your list through before and you're running it through again with the same information. For this demo, I'm going to go ahead and choose that. That way I don't have to type in the information. So we'll go ahead and click in Next. And here is where we have all the your mail type options in there. So here's where we enter in our post office and mailing, which is going to be in California and in Rancho Santa Margarita. Once you select the city-state combination, it'll list all the post offices in that city for you in this drop-down, and you can just choose the correct one. Here we have the mail class. For this demo, we're going to go ahead and choose marketing mail, or as it used to be known as standard mail. But we also do offer first class as availability. Here is where we enter in the sample size and weight, and also the thickness. So we're going to take 10 pieces and measure how thick they are, and then enter that in here. You could also choose a different number than 10. We just figured 10 is a lot easier to measure than 1, but you could also do a bigger number if you prefer. And we also measure how much they weigh. In this case, it's for 10 pieces that weighs 4.8 ounces or 0.48. You want to make sure that you're pretty accurate on the thickness because it does determine how many pieces could fit in each tray. Here's where we'll select the mailing date. This is the date that you're going to actually take it to the post office. Well, since I'm pre-sorting it today, I probably won't be taking it there today. I'll probably be taking it on Tuesday. So I'll go ahead and choose Tuesday. The mail processing type, you want to select non-machinable if your piece does not meet the machinable standards in the DMM, which if you click on here, it'll actually bring up a reference to the DMM number where you could check. The mail piece type, whether it's a letter or a flat. For this demo, we're going to go ahead and choose letter. And then we have piece dimensions. The length of the piece, which is 11 inches, and the height, which is going to be 6 inches. And this is a calculated value that we determined, which you need to make sure that it's greater than 1.3. And we'll go ahead and click on Next. This is where you're going to be entering in all your permit information. We also have the option here, if you just want to see how the program works and runs, you can just run a sample test right here and click on this, and it'll automatically fill in all the details in there for you with some made-up information. But for this demo, we'll go ahead and choose one of these options here and leave that one unchecked. We could do the mailing for ourselves. So we'll just fill out the permit information, which is your mailer ID, your customer ID, your permit number, and the rate type. You'll also want to make sure that you include your address and your name and the company name, your phone number, and your email address. If you're doing the mailing for someone else and using your permit, then you would choose this option, which will let you fill out the permit information and the mailing agent information. Or sorry, mail owner information. If you're doing the mailing for someone else and using their permit, then you would use the permit holder and the mailing agent. So if you go ahead and scroll down, and you'll see that here's the information that you'd want to enter in for the mailing agent one. And we also have the option here for if you're going to be mailing someone else's mail but using a third party's permit. That's not very common, but it does happen sometimes. So you would select this option and fill out the permit holder information, the mail owner information, and the mailing agent information. But for this demo, we're just going to go ahead and just do the mailing ourselves and use the only have our permit information in there. So we'll go ahead and click on next. Here is where we have the license code, which is automatically filled based on a code that we get from ID Alliance. Each customer gets their own unique license code. So yours should not say E129. This number is provided to you as free of charge because we are partners with ID Alliance. Here we want to make sure that the contact name, your doc sender ID, and your phone number and your email are also entered in correctly. This is going to be the person that takes the submits the mail.dat files. So you want to make sure that this information is correct. We grab this information from the permit screen, so if it is different, you can go ahead and change it in here. This is where you select the move update method. Well, we are running it through NCOA, so we could choose NCOA, but the post office is currently changing the regulations on move updates. So they're recommending that everybody do ACS as additional to NCOA. So we could also choose multiple, or we could choose just ACS. It's usually better just to choose the ACS and then choose the full service ACS. And here we have the trace options, which is basically the post office's way of tracking the pieces if you wanted to do that. And we also have the option to palletization, which is creating pallets for the pieces. We'll go ahead and click on next. Here's our different sorting options. We have automation, enhanced carrier route, non-automation, and residual. Since this is letters, it's actually cheaper unless we're doing a high density or saturation mailing that we choose automation and uncheck carrier route because we don't want it to qualify for carrier route if it's going to cost more. Here's your postage types. We have metered mail, permanent imprint, and pre-canceled stamps. The most two common are metered mail and permanent imprint, which is the little box in the right-hand corner of the envelope or postcard that has your permit number in it. We also have different options available for the tray tags and the sack labels. We recommend that you do the draw border, the container number, and the number of pieces in there, so it's easier to identify which tray is which. So we'll go ahead and have those options selected and click on next. This is a review page that'll let you, it just pretty much shows you all the information that you entered in earlier, and you can double check it to make sure that it's correct. This one looks correct to me. So I'll go ahead and click on and then go to the next options. Our next option is to run it through duplicate check. What this is it'll do the duplicate check if we have this selected, and it'll do it by either address, last name, first name, address company and last name, or address company, last name, and first name. For this list, we're not going to run it through duplicate check, so I'll go ahead and uncheck this. One thing you want to consider before you decide to run it through duplicate check, if for some reason that you have a pretty low count list and you want to run it through, it might not qualify if it ends up having less than 200 pieces for marketing mail or 500 for first class mailing, which doesn't mean that'll make it so it doesn't meet the minimum requirements for doing those mailings. Here we'll enter a unique job name, so we'll call this Mailers Online Demo 1. And if this wasn't already a saved template, I'd probably want to have this selected if I was going to do this mailing again. But since I'm not, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this. And we'll go ahead and start pre-sorting. And usually this doesn't take too long, especially with a file this size. You'll see when it's ready that the status will change from pending to ready. And the page will refresh every 10 minutes, so it should indicate it. Or if you get it really impatient, you could always just reload the page. Okay, instead of waiting for this to be done, I'll show you what it actually looks like when it's complete. Go to report. And this just has what your input columns are. It'll have all the job information, the start date, end date, how long it took to process, the name of the file, and how many records were in there. Even though this had 600 pieces in it, it does not count the header, so it actually has a total of 599 records that it ran through. So this is the NCOA results. You'll see that it had 591 good addresses, 8 bad addresses, 41 addresses that were corrected, 5 individual moves, 3 family moves, and 3 business moves. Here's where you can see the different reports that if you wanted to preview them, you can get the CAS summary and the NCOA link processing report. And once you're done with that, since we have less than 20,000 records, you'll be able to get your file for free. So you would just click on the download button. And you'll see a zip file that'll have the part of the file name in there. And then once you get the zip file, you could open it up. And here it'll have your mail.dat files in this folder. How to print labels using Microsoft Word and doing a mail merge in there. It'll have the mailing summary report, the postage statement, the parameter report, the qualification report, and your tray tags. And it also will have the United States Post Office font to create the intelligent mail barcode. And here's what the output file looks like. Let me zoom it in a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, here's where we have the sequence number, the record ID, the tray number, the endorsement line, the bundle number, the IMB alpha code, the IMB numeric code, the IMB serial number, and this is all the information that we sent it to it. And then after that, it'll have the ones that'll run through NCOA. It'll have the results. So you'll want to make sure that you use all the addresses when you're doing your labels as the one that say MD first, which is you have address to, suite, city, state, postal code, +4, carrier route, and delivery point. And you also have our results codes. If you want to see what the result codes are, if you go to our website and under support, it'll show you the result codes. This concludes our demo for the day. Thank you and have a great day.